Welcome back to Make Do.
And welcome to our first episode of 2020.
It's not 2020.
2020.
Good start. Welcome back to Make Do.
And welcome to our first episode of 2022. We've been doing some work behind the scenes, getting the shop updated and prepping for some awesome projects.
Meanwhile, we did hit a huge milestone. That's right, we finally hit 1,000 subscribers. And shout out to our good friends Haley and Dustin for the support. Thank you, Haley, for making this great little plaque to commemorate the milestone.
And of course, thank you for supporting our channel and making our first year so great. We have some big plans for the second year of our channel, and we've been playing a lot of D&D recently.
So we thought we should roll to see how 2022 is going to turn out. That's why I got this.
No one can see that.
Well, what am I supposed to use? Okay, that'll be a little bit better. We printed this icosahedron. Am I saying that right? We printed this icosahedron on our Prusa i3 Mark III using Polymaker's PolyTerra PLA filament. The print came out pretty nice, but there's still a little sanding that needs to be done. To keep the edges as smooth as possible, we are taping a large sheet of sandpaper to our work surface and running each of the sides over it to keep things as flat as possible. And then finishing it off with some finer 320 grit paper. I'm making sure to knock down the sharp edges slightly. They don't need to be rounded over completely, but paint usually doesn't stick to sharp edges. There's still a few problem areas that need a little filling with... I'll be right back. Okay, should be good to go now. I'm just going over the surface and covering some of the lower spots and more stubborn layer lines. Then sanding it back down. Then it's time for a nice thick coat of primer. Followed by more filler. And more sanding. I give the surface a quick buffing with some extra fine steel wool. Before we paint, I do get some measurements so I can lay out the numbers while James is painting. We decided to apply the numbers using vinyl instead of painting them on or just printing them as part of the model. We thought this would be the easiest and cleanest approach. Using the measurements from the printed piece, I use Illustrator to create my artwork for each face. Vector graphics will give us the best results. You can also use Inkscape, which is a pretty powerful, free alternative to Illustrator. Once I have the layout down, I simply repeat my shape and swap out the numbers for each side. How many are there? 20?
For the paint, we used Rust-Oleum's Colonial Red, giving it that classic Dungeons & Dragons color. We then let the paint dry for 48 whole hours.
Before cutting out all the vinyl numbers, I printed a quick test just to make sure our sizing was right. The vinyl we are using has a nice off-white color that works nicely with the deep red of the dye. Now I just sit back and let the robot do all the work. After doing a rough trim, I remove all the excess vinyl, which makes this cool reverse sticker. Next, I'll be adding transfer paper so we can transfer the vinyl to the D20's faces. I use a bone folding tool to make sure the transfer paper is securely attached to the vinyl cutouts. You'll notice each number has a triangular border. I use this as a guide to trim the transfer paper and vinyl. It won't end up on the final piece, but it will help me keep the numbers centered. With everything trimmed, I can start applying our numbers to the die. I have my normal size D20 for reference to make sure the numbers are laid out correctly. Fun fact, every opposite side of a D20 equals 21. Then I simply peel the transfer paper along with the number and carefully place it on the D20. Having the transfer paper trimmed to the correct shape really helped line things up. I use my folding tool again to make sure the vinyl is secure. And then I can remove the transfer paper, leaving the vinyl number behind. It's so strange. I'm so used to seeing a D20, but just not at this size.
Right? It just feels absurd. Like we just scaled up one of our D20s.
Yeah, like we cast in large on it.
Anyway, it has a great weight to it, and I'm pretty sure we'll use this in our D&D campaign. The paint will probably get scuffed a little, but that'll just make it look cooler.
Oh, and one more thing. We accidentally used glow-in-the-dark vinyl. We picked it out for its off-white color, but apparently it glows in the dark.
Which is a great bonus for those dark dungeons.
Anyway, we hope this build inspired you to make something cool.
Thanks for watching.
See you in the next one. Okay, let's give this thing a roll. Whoa!